Very specific guy hit a home run a couple of nights ago off of Walker Buehler. A very specific guy is a two-time World Series MVP, one of which was on the only World Series that the Dodgers have won over the last 40-plus seasons, Corey Seager. Andrew Friedman and his team really, they don't make very many mistakes. That doesn't mean that everything they do is a grand slam, but they get a lot of hits, and they make a lot of big splashes. And when they do, it's Mookie Betts. It's Freddie Freeman. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's Yamamoto. It's keeping Clayton Kershaw in a Dodger uniform for they really don't miss. It's an incredibly successful team. They win the division. They've won 11 of the last 12 years, and the one time they didn't, they won 105 games. They're in the playoffs year after year. They've been to the World Series 3 times in this window. But if you had to kind of flip the coin over and start listing the things that you'd say, yeah, that was a huge miss, Corey Seager being on the Texas Rangers is one on that list. It's the thing on the list.
Well, it's also, too, it was the butterfly effect of subsequent mistakes.
Yes.
Because they thought the Corey Seager insurance was Trey Turner. And Trey Turner, it has come out since he left, say broadly speaking, not a Southern California person.
No, correct.
Like that is
my reporting's the wrong word, but what I have
you're
heard,
poking around.
What I have heard that it wasn't so much him as people in his family.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean it's like Dan.
Yes.
It's like Dan Hurley.
Sure.
Dan Hurley didn't just have to be sold on the job; he has to in turn sell his whole family, who are East Coast. Through and through an East Coast royalty.
Yes.
Let's relocate from this great situation to Southern California where none of you want to be and go. Like, that's tough. Trey Turner, heard as well. Broadly speaking, not a Southern California guy.
Yep.
That is something the Dodgers need to know.
100%.
That is something their intel should have picked up on well before the pursuit of Trey Turner. Like, hey, I don't think he's going to want to stick around. You know, that he's got a little bit of Anthony Rendon in him. You know, LA.
Does he not like the Hollywood lifestyle either?
Trey Turner might not like, or the extended family of Trey Turner may not like the Hollywood lifestyle.
Sure.
Which then leads to Gavin Lux as the shortstop solution that isn't.
Right.
Which now leads you to Mookie Betts playing shortstop. And in a vacuum, what he's doing is pretty incredible.
It is. That is a separate topic, Andy, that I want to get into. But here's what's so interesting.
Would have been just simpler to just sign Corey Seager.
And you were 90% of the way there. That when he came through, they asked him, hey, why aren't you here? And he goes, guys, I really don't want to talk about that. All I will tell you is I loved being a Dodger. They taught me how to play baseball. They created he was very complimentary of them. But when it came time to, hey, why don't you play here anymore? He basically said, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to get into it. Here are the facts of the matter. And it's important to kind of go backwards. The Dodgers gave a guy who had never pitched in the major leagues $300 million in 10 years in Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Okay? It's a big commitment. They gave Tyler Glasnow 5 years and over $100 million. Tyler Glasnow has always been very good. He's never healthy. Yep. So far, so good. Knocking on wood. They went above and beyond that thing that typically they would be comfortable with. Ohtani, don't even add any context to that. It's the biggest contract, blah, 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 right?
Here's Will Smith, a very long
Will
deal.
Smith, but an AAV that's pretty palatable.
Oh, sure. No, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying it's another example 100%. Of a very long deal.
The the Rangers signed Corey Seager to a 10-year, $325 million contract, okay? Math is pretty easy on that. He makes $32.5 million a year. The Dodgers reportedly offered an 8-year, $250 million contract. The difference in that's a $31.25 million a year. You're talking about $1.25 million over 2 more years. Okay, the total value of the contract, it's $75 more million. I get that. You're already willing to go $8,250. Is $10,325 really that much different? I know it sounds crazy, but it's really not. If all of the problems or butterfly effect that we've talked about, he's the guy that showed up and won you the World Series in large part. It clearly wasn't lightning in a bottle. He did it again last year for the Rangers. The only knock on this dude is they get hurt kind of frequently. But when he's out there, my God, he's one of the best that you've seen. And you see what's going on at short, and it's just, you see him hit that ball halfway up the pavilion. It's the one they say they should have seen this one coming.
Yeah. I mean, in the moment, I was surprised. And since then, I thought they don't make a lot of high-profile mistakes, but this was a pretty costly one because how many years ago was that? 4 or 5?
In 3 or 4, I want to say.
They still have not landed on a solution with this. And they keep having to go in very different, unusual ways to try to offset a hole at a very important position.
And look, what has the knock on the Dodgers been over the last several seasons as far as their postseason performance? They just turtle. They just don't show up in big moments. Who did? That guy.
Yeah.
And who did it again? That guy. Mm-hmm. And look, Mookie Betts has won 2 World Series. He's an MVP. Freddie Freeman has won the World Series, and he was an MVP. It's not to say that these guys don't have it in them. I believe that they do. But this is your guy. Right? I remember, telling Sliwa when Sliwa and I first, Corey Seager, this is the guy that I think kind of, other than Clayton Kershaw, he's like the Dodgeriest of these guys. He was drafted by the Dodgers.
He was kind of in their farm system.
He was the one that you say, hey, this guy, this Seager kid that's coming, I think his older brother's Kyle Seager up in Seattle. It's like, he's pretty good. His little brother, way better.
Yep.
Way better. Wait till this guy shows up. He shows up with all the fanfare, and he delivers. And from the moment he shows up, he's really, really good. There's no drama with this guy, and yet he's gone. It's one of the few. We could spend 10 hours talking about what we just talked about with the Angels with 400 different guys. That this jumps out at the Dodgers, I think, speaks to how good they are at it. But, man, what a big miss.
Yeah, especially in a series like this, you just get that visual reminder of, yeah, that dude's really good.
And he smoked his buddy.
And it also, I didn't know if he talked about, and I've mentioned this, that it doesn't seem like the Dodgers necessarily lowballed him. I know that I think they made an offer, right? But they
made the Laker offer.
Yeah.
Good, not great.
Yeah. Not enough to say, I can't go to the Rangers.
$8,250 reportedly.
Well, it's also one of those, if you're going to go this far, you might as well go all the way.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, if you end up unhappy with the Seager deal, you're not going to likely be happy with it at the price that they were willing to sign him anyway. If that deal aged, if for whatever reason Seager didn't work out or he underperformed or whatever, you're probably going to feel buyer's remorse at that
Can I
price.
play devil's advocate on that? I agree with you, but if I'm trying to put myself inside of Andrew Friedman's head during this negotiation, I was really uncomfortable with 8 to begin with. I was giving 8 hoping to get 5. Now you're asking me to go to 10 hoping to get 5. And that's the Pujols deal. That was one of those. They did.
Yeah, but the difference is the Pujols deal was a horrible idea. I'm from St. Louis. I know a lot of Cardinal fans. They were, to a man, everyone I spoke to, all very sad to see Pujols go.
Yep.
All relieved that the Cardinals didn't match what the Angels were putting out.
100%. But what I'm getting at, Andy, is that if the Cardinal people knew, this deal stinks, okay? If you're Andrew Friedman and you think this deal, a 10-year deal for this guy, is a bad deal,
right? But
because 8 is at the far, far edge of a good one.
Right, but the difference is, though, it was reasonable to count on 5 good years from Seager of those 8. And then you just hope the other 3 aren't incredibly painful.
Yeah.
Pujols, how many years was that?
10.
You'd have been lucky if it were 2 good years.
And it was about that.
He was in decline with the Cardinals. In obvious decline.
He'd gone over the hill.
Right, that was insane what the Angels did.
Well, like I said, we could spend several days.
I'm just saying that's the difference between Seager and Pujols. There was no justification for the Angels deal with Pujols.
Like I said at the beginning, I agree with all of this, but I'm just trying to think of why those last 2 were the breaking point. If they were at their very extreme edge on 8, I just can't do.
Well, you know
10.
what I think the difference might be? You look at someone like Glasnow,
yeah,
versus Seager. Maybe the difference is just realizing sometimes you have to take a chance.
Yeah.
Like you just have to take a chance.
Here's another part. The Dodgers are in a different place now with Glasnow, with Yamamoto, with Ohtani, quite frankly, than they were 4 years ago where, hey, we had won a World Series. We'd just been in 2 others. They hadn't had as much disappointment as they had at this point, and it felt like they were on the trajectory. Like, hey, we finally cracked the code. We know how to do this now.
Let me ask you this. This just came to mind to me. Around the time when they ultimately wouldn't go that far with Seager, do you think they would have made the same deal for Will Smith?
Maybe not. Maybe not. Now, the AAV on Will Smith is a more palatable one, but maybe not. I think they've gone into hey, listen, we've had 12 years of wild success. We got 1 to show for it. Let's burn this thing to the ground. And if it blows up, it blows up. But we can't just say we're going to do the smart thing every single time. Occasionally, we're going to have to do what you said, which is, you know what? Blanket. Give him what he wants. Let's go do it. All right. Factor Cap coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. It's the summertime.